merchant who had 3 sons. The first was Fyodor, the second Vasily, and the third Ivan the Fool. This merchant lived richly. He sailed in his ships to foreign lands and traded in all kinds of goods. Once he loaded 2 ships with precious merchandise and sent them beyond the sea with his 2 elder sons. Ivan, his youngest son, always went to inns and alehouses, and for that reason his father did not trust him with any business. But when Ivan learned that his brothers had been sent beyond the sea, he straight away went to his father and begged him to be allowed to show himself in foreign lands, see people, and earn money by his wits. For a long time the merchant refused, saying, "You'll spend everything on drink and come home without your head." However, when he saw that his son persisted in his prayers, he gave him a ship with the very cheapest cargo, beams, boards, and planks. Ivan made ready for the voyage, lifted anchor, and soon overtook his brothers. They sailed together on the blue sea for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but on the 4th strong winds arose and blew Ivan's ship to a remote and unknown island. "Very well, boys," cried Ivan to his crew, "make for shore," and they reached the shore. Ivan stepped out on the island, told his crew to wait for him, and started walking along a path. He walked and walked until he reached a very high mountain, and he saw that in this mountain there was neither sand nor stone, but pure Russian salt. He returned to the shore and ordered his sailors to throw all the beams and planks into the water and to load the ship with salt. As soon as this was done, Ivan lifted anchor and sailed away. After some time, a long time or a short time, and after they had sailed some distance, a great distance or a short one, the ship approached a large and wealthy city, sailed into its harbour, and cast anchor. Ivan, the merchant's son, went into the city to make obeisance to the king of the country and to obtain permission to trade freely, and he took a bundle of his merchandise, Russian salt, to show the king. His arrival was immediately reported to the sovereign, who summoned him and said, "Speak, what is your business? What do you want?" "Just this, your majesty. Permit me to trade freely in your city." "And what goods do you sell?" "Russian salt, your majesty." The king had never heard of salt. In his kingdom the people ate without salt. He wondered what this new and unknown merchandise might be. "Come," he said, "show it to me." Ivan, the merchant's son, opened his kerchief. The king glanced at the contents and thought to himself, "This is only white sand." And he said to Ivan with a smile, "Brother, this can be had here without money." Ivan left the palace feeling very downcast. Then it occurred to him to go to the king's kitchen and see how the cooks prepared meals there and what kind of salt they used. He went into the kitchen, asked to be allowed to rest for a while, sat on a chair and watched. The cooks ran back and forth. One was busy boiling, another roasting, another pouring, and still another crushing rice on a ladle. Ivan, the merchant's son, saw that they were not the least bit concerned with salting the food. He waited till the moment came when everyone else was out of the kitchen. Then he seized the chance to pour the proper amount of salt into all the stews and sauces. The time came to serve the dinner, and the first dish was brought in. The king ate of it and found it savoury as never before. The second dish was served, and he liked it even better. Then the king summoned his cooks and said to them, "I have been king for many years, but never before have you cooked me such savoury dishes. How did you do it?" cooks answered, "Your Majesty, we cooked as of old and did not add anything new. But the merchant who came to ask permission to trade freely is sitting in the kitchen. Perhaps he has added something. Summon him to my presence." Ivan, the merchant's son, was brought before the king to be questioned. He fell on his knees and asked forgiveness. "Your Majesty, I confess my guilt. I have seasoned all the dishes and sauces with Russian salt. Such is the custom in my country." "And for how much do you sell this salt?" Ivan realised that his business was in a fair way and answered, "It is not very dear. For 2 measures of salt, 1 measure of silver and 1 of gold." The king agreed to this price and bought the whole cargo. Ivan filled his ship with silver and gold and sat down to wait for a favourable wind. Now the king of that land had a daughter, a beautiful princess. She wanted to see the Russian ship and asked her father's permission to go down to the port. The king gave her permission, so she took her nurses, governesses and maidservants with her and drove forth to see the Russian ship. Ivan, the merchant's son, showed her every part and told her its name. The sails, the rigging, the bow and the stern. And then he led her into the cabin. He ordered his crew to cut away the anchor, hoist the sails and put out to sea. And since they had a good tailwind, they were soon a good distance from the city. The princess came up on deck, saw only the sea around her and began to weep. Ivan, the merchant's son, spoke to her, comforted her, and urged her to dry her tears. And since he was handsome, she soon smiled and ceased grieving. For some time, a long time or a short time, Ivan sailed on the sea with the princess. Then his elder brothers overtook him, learned of his audacity and good fortune, and greatly envied him. They came on board his ship, seized him by his arms and threw him into the sea. Then they cast lots between them and divided the booty. The eldest brother took the princess, and the second brother took the ship full of silver and gold. Now it happened that when they flung Ivan from the ship, he saw one of the boards that he himself had thrown into the sea. He clutched this board, and for a long time drifted on it above the depths of the sea. Finally, he was carried to an unknown island. He went ashore and walked along the beach. He met a giant with an enormous moustache, on which hung his mittens, which he was drying thus after the rain. "What do you want here?" asked the giant. Ivan told him everything that had happened. "If you so desire, I will carry you home. Tomorrow your eldest brother is to marry the princess. Sit on my back." He took Ivan up in his hands, seated him on his back, and ran across the sea. Ivan's cap dropped off. "Ah, me," he said, "I've lost my cap." "Never mind, brother," said the giant. "Your cap is far away now, 500 versts behind us." He brought Ivan to his native land, put him on the ground and said, "Now promise that you will not boast to anyone about having ridden on my back. If you do boast, I shall crush you." Ivan, the merchant's son, promised not to boast, thanked the giant, and set out on the homeward journey. When he arrived, everyone was already at the wedding table, preparing to go to church. As soon as the beautiful princess saw him, she jumped from her seat and threw herself on his neck. "This is my bridegroom," she said, "and not he who sits here by my side." "What is this?" asked the father. Ivan told him everything, how he had traded in salt, how he had carried off the princess, and how his elder brothers had pushed him into the sea. The father was very angry at his elder sons, drove them out of the house, and married Ivan to the princess. Now a gay feast began. The guests got drunk and began to boast, some about their strength, some about their wealth, and some about the beauty of their young wives. And Ivan sat and then drunkenly boasted. What are your boasts worth? I have something real to boast about. I rode horseback on a giant across the entire sea. The moment he said these words, the giant appeared at the gate. Ah, Ivan, son of the merchant, he said, I told you not to boast about me. Now what have you done? Forgive me, Ivan implored him. It was not I who boasted, but my drunkenness. Come, show me, what do you mean by drunkenness? Ivan gave orders that 100-gallon barrel of wine and 100-gallon barrel of beer be brought. The giant drank the wine and the beer, got drunk, and began to break up and ruin everything in his path. He knocked down trees and bushes and tore big houses asunder. Then he fell down and slept 3 days and nights without awakening. When he awoke, he was shown all the damage he had done. The giant was terribly surprised and said, Well, Ivan, son of the merchant, now I know what drunkenness is. Henceforth you may boast about me all you like.